in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 92 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet, whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. These first few sentences captivated millions of readers instantly. This new blatantly satirical view on the existence of mankind brought a new genre to the popular literature world in which the genres of science fiction and humor were combined, influencing society greatly. But back to the beginning. No, not back to the beginning of the Earth, the beginning of Douglas Noel Adams. He was strange to say the least. His initials and nickname were the letters DNA, ironically soon after the genetic material was discovered. He didn't speak until he was 4. He was very, very tall, and he wanted to be a nuclear physicist as a child. The plan obviously failed. Later, he went back to school to study English at Cambridge. Stalling and procrastinating were normal for Adams, and over time he found creative ways to do so. One day, while hitchhiking across Europe at age 18, he was lying drunk in a field in Innsbruck with his copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to Europe, when he thought to himself that someone ought to write the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Many years later, he recalled that night and that interesting idea, so he made a radio show based off of it, then later a book series based off of that. He makes a point to mention that the book series and the radio series don't correlate perfectly at all fact-wise and time-wise. This sporadic quality of his writing is most likely due to his crazy way of life, which is what draws many readers to his work. His frequently changing jobs from Monty Python cast member to a Doctor Who skit writer, to chicken shed cleaner, to a Pink Floyd guitar player, to a rich Arabian family's security guard, seems to make his writing more random and quirky. Another quality that contributes to the style of writing is, as mentioned before, his procrastination habits. Not only was Douglas Adams a genius, but he was a great procrastinator. He would hitchhike across Europe or find a new odd job or travel to Australia to test a new underwater vehicle, or even climb Mount Kilimanjaro while wearing a rhino suit to support the protection of the endangered species. Now more about his time period. Douglas Adams became best known for his famous science fiction series The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in the late 1970s, a time of bell-bottoms, women's rights movements, and increasing environmental activists. Douglas Adams' sporadic and go-with-the-flow lifestyle gave him a great understanding of the world. Along with the rise of the environmental movement in the late 1970s, with liberal ideas still being somewhat popular, Adams was influenced into being an environmental activist. Literature not only influences society, but it also influences the author. After writing about the extinction of the human race, Adams was moved to research the currently endangered species. While he often said he wasn't a zoologist, he brought light to the endangered species in his own way. He used his comedy to his advantage. At a TED Talk at the University of California, he made some truly inspiring comments about his experiences with the world today and how we humans are treating it. One of the most memorable things he said was, "So, there's a kind of terrible irony that at the point we are best able to understand and appreciate and value the richness of life around us, we are destroying it at a higher rate than it has ever been destroyed before. And we are losing species after species after species day after day just because we're burning the stuff down for firewood. And this is a kind of terrible indictment of our understanding. But you see, we make another mistake because we think somehow that this is all right in some fundamental kind of way because we think this is all sort of meant to happen." In other words, Adams is shedding a light on the fact that even though we are amazing creatures and have developed incredible technology, we seem to be putting aside the well-being of our planet because we think we can improve ourselves through improving the technology. However, we depend on the rest of the planet, not on technology. Well, most of us don't depend on technology. At this point, it sounds mad not to use the amount of power and intelligence we have to help benefit the creatures that we've been depending on to survive for centuries. In this way, we share a similarity to Arthur Dent, the main character in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We, like Arthur Dent, are focused on the small things, like getting to a better job position, rather than living in the now to help benefit the future of our planet. However, we won't be able to run off like Arthur Dent with his alien friend, Ford Prefect, and depressed robot Marvin, on thrilling adventures throughout the galaxy. Instead, we can use the knowledge Douglas Adams left us to create a better, healthier world focused more on working together. So as the clearly superior and far more intelligent species, the dolphins would say, "So long, and thanks for all the fish."